And then this happened in Kansas City to my camera, guys. What is going on?
Well, that has been a problem since 9/11. I have a friend who was trying to take a picture of the D.C. Superior Court of all places, and he was threatened with arrest, and they threatened to seize his camera. But this is all part of the whole post 9/11 thing. You can't take pictures of anything.
But it's all color of law. They don't even have a law.
There's no law. It's just whatever the cop feels at the time, and 9 times out of 10, the judge will go along with whatever the cop says.
All right, Wayne Madsen, you've given us a lot of time. In closing, Honduras, obviously we hear, oh, he wasn't supposed to run again, he's evil. Well, he was trying to have a referendum, and then we know the West had been targeting him for overthrow. He had called for the decriminalization of drugs, saying that it was basically a CIA operation, and that the drug dealers didn't like him. And so I guess because he wanted to end the drug war, again, the drug dealers want to keep it illegal out there for folks who don't understand this. That's how they make their profits. Key leaders of Honduran military coup were trained in the U.S. Wayne, what are you hearing up there on the Hill or up there at the press club on this?
Well, what I'm hearing is that the foreign minister of Honduras, Patricia Rodas, tried to call the American ambassador in Tegucigalpa. She got no answer. Obama's saying that he's urging calm. He said he's only going to recognize President Zelaya, the guy who was ousted, as the true leader. But I say, talk is cheap. Let's look at the actions. I see no effort to sever relations with that military junta, no effort to impose economic sanctions. We see nothing. We have 600 U.S. troops stationed at Sotocano Air Base in Honduras. What was their role? What did they know? What did the NSA know? They're eavesdropping out of actually NSA Texas, which is up in San Antonio at the Medina Annex. They knew what was coming down. Our troops down there know what was happening. We had a U.S. Southern Command team arrive at another Honduran Air Force base conveniently at the same time the coup was underway. So this looks like it's the same thing that was going on against Hugo Chavez, and his coup turned out to be an aborted coup in 2002.
Yeah, they grabbed him and put him on an airplane, and then something happened when his troops rebelled and took the capital back over. They turned around and flew him back in 2002. That was in March.
Exactly, and whoever planned this coup didn't want to make that same mistake, so they made sure that the Honduran military was on side. I think this is a textbook case of what they teach at the School of the Americas in Fort Benning, and they also assassinated the only leftist candidate for president in the elections in November. Cesar Ham was assassinated when the Honduran troops showed up to arrest him. He was killed. So this is much more than a constitutional crisis. This is a class book military coup, the kind of things they teach at Fort Benning, Georgia, at the School of the Americas.
Well, since, where his top military brass were trained, who just overthrew him, the Iran situation, to have Obama saying we're not involved when the CIA officially, for at least 2.5 years, as you know, publicly says they were funding a student revolution. The guy that claims he's been cheated announced 2 hours before polls closed that he'd been cheated, when even U.S. polling companies said 2-1 for Ahmadinejad, who only won by 65% instead. I'm no defender of Ahmadinejad. The point is reality is reality. And it seems like whatever Obama says, it's always the opposite. He says, I want to be your friend, right as they launch the attempted overthrow. Do you agree with that?
Yes, and I would also note that a neocon named Kenneth Timmerman, the day before the election, started talking about the Green Revolution. Here we go with another Soros-colored thematic revolution. I think Soros' fingerprints are all over this. I would note that Ahmadinejad today said that this girl who was shot, he wants to investigate that. She was shot in the back. And they say there were no Iranian security forces around there at the time.
Exactly. It looks completely staged. And her poor family, they have no idea. I mean, that thing looks staged 100%. Not that they don't shoot people, but that's certainly staged. That's what my gut said day one. I mean,
they're really... martyr. Right. They needed a martyr, and they have one in her, whether she was willing or unwilling. She's the martyr, but Ahmadinejad calling for an investigation.
Wayne, I'm going to let you go, but I got to have you up again. The San Antonio Current paper went out to photograph the cybersecurity building, NSA San Antonio. That I know you work for the NSA, so you can speak to this.
Right.
And they came out and arrested them and grabbed their tape off base. So, I mean, my God, they're the ones violating the law down there, spying on everybody, Wayne.
Absolutely, and they don't like the attention.
Well, they're going to get a lot more of it here. Wayne Madsen, God bless you. We're We're going to beat these people with great patriots like you. WayneMadsenReport.com.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Infowars.com is our site. Stay with us. I'm going to get into a bunch of news when we get back. Hannah, Montana.
Finally in the news this evening, it's being reported that cyber spies from Russia and China have now penetrated our power grid. Even as energy experts are reporting that each summer we get closer and closer to the limits of our nation's power grid, some say that this summer's demand for electrical power may finally push the grid over its edge, creating a cascade of power outages across the country, putting us all in the dark.
Are you prepared for the next round of storm-related outages or government-created blackouts? Have you ever thought about taking steps to get off the grid and generate your own private supply of electrical power? If so, this will be the most important information you have ever heard. Solar-powered generators are finally available. They have no moving parts to wear out or break and require absolutely no gas whatsoever. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Check out mysolarbackup.com before you lose your power.